All right, we will hop now into our group of five deep dive underdog parlay of the week here in week 9. I'm going to get it started here because this is a pretty simple play in terms of the logic behind it. I like Navy plus 335 going up against Tulsa. This is a Navy team that came off a disastrous 2020 during COVID. They ended up not hitting during fall camp. They get boat raced in the opener by BYU, and they just never really recovered. They didn't have that same kind of physicality that you absolutely need as a triple option offense. And defensively, they were just not there at all in terms of being able to get off the field. Enter this Tulsa team that, when I mentioned getting off the field, this is something that's really important because they've been, the Golden Wave have been, or excuse me, the Golden Hurricane have been really bad on third downs. And that's the opportunity for Navy here. It's not a defense that's high on the havoc rating, but if they can get off the field and possess the football, it's going to turn into a very similar game script that we've seen with triple option teams and service academy teams in recent years. Then when I look at just kind of their resume this season, after the first 2 weeks, Navy has been a pest. They only lost by 7 to Cincinnati. They only lost by 7 to SMU. The last 5 games, they're top 15 nationally in rushing yards. Ty Lavatai, their quarterback, has done just enough through the air to give them a little bit of balance. They're still, depending on the metric, bottom 5 nationally. It's not something they rely on offensively, but just enough balance to give them a little bit of a punch. And then when you look at the head coaching matchup, I think it's easy to write off Ken Niumatalolo and say that he's lost his magic and maybe it's time for him to relocate, revitalize a new program, maybe get some better athletes. But this is a guy who's absolutely owned Philip Montgomery. He's 5-1 since Montgomery showed up in 2015 against Tulsa. I think he's going to pull the same magic here. I think that the value north of 3-1 is just too good to pass up. And a reminder to our listeners, you're going to want to check the WynnBET Sportsbook updated odds because I've seen this out in the market up to plus 350. Do you think there's any fight left in this Navy team, or do you think it emotionally coming off of that near miss with a late onside kick recovery, they weren't able to get it done against Cincinnati? Was that just too draining?
Yeah, I like this play. First of all, I hope, our Navy just has to fight in them at all times and doesn't just give up when times are tough. That's not good for our country. But I like this more from just a sense, of both these teams are bad. So I feel like there's value in the number because, do I trust Navy at all? No. Have I bet on Navy once this year? No. Do I think Navy stinks? Yes. But I also don't trust Tulsa as a favorite. They've been really bad this year. And I think it's a little weird because, Zaven Collins is kind of the only person they lost in that defense, but it's totally changed their defense. Like, we should retroactively give Zaven Collins the Heisman just based on how bad Tulsa's defense has been this year. And yeah, Bryn struggled. Their offense really is a mess. So this could go either way for me. So it's kind of a coin flip. So if you're getting nice plus money on that, I definitely like the idea of it.
So what are you pairing up here? And then my producer's in my ear. It sounds like whatever you're going to throw in there, it's going to get all the way up to 11-1 on the payout. So this has got to be good. Lay it on me.
Yeah. So I've hit my money line, dogs have cashed the last 2 weeks in a row. So I'm taking a little bit bigger swing here. I like to play it safe usually. I'm going with Hawaii plus 180 at Utah State. I think Cordero is going to play. He's supposed to be back. We thought he'd be back last week, but for me, he did warm up. He was in pads before the game. It was kind of a last second, hey, I can't go. So I'm expecting him back this week. Obviously, that's huge. Cordero's a guy I was kind of down on last year, but he has looked a lot better. His average depth of target is 2 full yards more than it was last year. He's got 17 big-time throws, just 7 turnover-worthy plays. And Hawaii is capable of scoring at just about any moment. They have 2 electric players. Dede Hunter is another one who, we expect to be back. He's averaging 7.1 yards per carry. And even if Hunter doesn't play, their backup running back went for 25 carries, 161 yards, and 3 touchdowns last week. So I'm kind of fine with that. Obviously, Hunter gives you that more explosiveness, especially when he's paired with Calvin Turner, who is kind of their Swiss Army knife, do it all. He's averaging 37 yards per game and 7 touchdowns rushing the ball and 64 yards with 2 touchdowns receiving the ball. So I love the explosiveness of Hawaii's offense. They're 20th in the country at big plays. And this Utah State defense is just 77th at preventing the big play. They're 102nd in rush defense. They're 94th in pass defense. And this Hawaii defense isn't great. So I do expect Utah State to be able to move the ball, but they're 21st at finishing drives. So when the other team gets inside the 40, that's when this Hawaii defense has been able to clamp down. And we've seen it the last couple weeks. They're playing a lot better football. They beat New Mexico State twice, who, in the kind of that weird little schedule matrix where they play New Mexico State twice in 4 weeks. But then we saw them beat Fresno State, who we both love, even though you, Benedict Arnold, bet against them last week, but I didn't. So go Bulldogs. And yeah, Nevada beat them, but they were only down 3 at the half. And then Hunter got hurt, and that was when things kind of went off the rails. So they were able to hang with Nevada when they were at full strength. And that was even without Cordero. So if they get Cordero and Hunter back, I like this Hawaii number at plus 180 against the Utah State team that I just, I don't really think they're that good.
Yeah, I think I have similar feedback as you did for the Navy Tulsa play, which is, why are we feeling that confident in Utah State? They've certainly shown their deficiencies this year. They've had games where the offenses failed to click. They've had quarterback injuries. They've played musical chairs. There's no reason to feel as though, even though they have to travel to the mainland, that Hawaii can't get this done. And when you put it together, 11-1 has certainly piqued my interest. So this is a play that is not going to require too much arm twisting to get me to throw that into the Wynn Sportsbook app.